Hey, Hare Krishna Mahajan. Hare Krishna. Chadeu.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, Rasta Vilas Prabhu. How are you?
Krishna is keeping us safe on the side.
How is everything?
We are managing. Krishna is always on our side.
Okay.
Thank God.
He's already the best.
Hi, hello, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. What prashadam are you eating early this morning like that? How's your health? Yesterday you said you were not feeling well.
Krishna's mercy.
Thank God. Nice to hear.
Hello. How are you?
God's mercy.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
What about your health? It's okay?
Sorry?
What about your health?
Krishna's mercy.
Okay.
Better than yesterday.
Okay.
Horrible.
That will protect you.
I kick some music by John.
Okay. I hope Salika Prabhu is there. I'll give him the host and then.
Yeah, sure. I'll give it to you.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I give you the host.
Hare Krishna, Kinchana Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
The Bluetooth
Rama,
device
Hare
is connected successfully.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so when people came in, that was one of the sites. So this room and the experience here, really, this was a place.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept Maharaj presence.
Hare Krishna, as my humble obeisances,
Vanchakarpataram
Kalpatarubyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Ivacha, Paritanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
There are only 8 students on the line now. I don't know whether we should wait a little bit or we should just start.
Well, what can we do? We have to wait a little bit more, maybe few more minutes to see.
Okay, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj and Deva pranams.
Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think we can start now.
Yes, Maharaj.
Om Gyana Timridasya Gyanan Gyana Shalakaya Chakshuramani Tam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragna Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Scha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Niti Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Sri Tadmane Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tetiriti Namane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvase Sasuyavadi Pasachari Satarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratunde Namaha Nityanando Vatutendur Vasudha Pranavalabha Janaviri Jivita Pati Krishna Prema Prada Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Bhavang Mata Jagat Rakta Rakta Gora Kile Varaha Advaitam Harinadvaita Racharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavataram Bhakta Kyanamami Bhakti Shaktikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabaya Nama Pankajamalini Nama Pankajanratnitraya Namaste Pankajagraye Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanahitaya Cha Jagarhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandir Gatima Sarvaswa Padam Puja Radha Mandana Mohano Divya Vendaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Radhagara Simhastanastao Sri Sri Radha Svila Govinda Devo Christianity Sevya Manosmarami Shrimam Rasarasaram Vivam Sivata Tata Stita Karsan Venu Swanai Gopi Gopinata Sri Estinaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavanishwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Lagayate Grim Yarkami Patamaha Bande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyatayina Characharam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So we glorify the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan before we begin our study. Nana Shastra Vicharenan Pano Sadharma Samstapaka Lokena Hita Karuna Tribhuvane Manya Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vrinda Bhajanan Nandena Matalika Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuram Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuram Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuram Sri Jiva Gopalaka. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of, because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. So everyone is welcome to today's section. It is said that by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami, we have come to the conclusions of the revealed scriptures, and by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, we are able to experience the highest taste of Bhakti. Sanatana Kripaya Painu Bhakti Shidanta Sri Rupa Kripaya Painu Bhakti Rasa Prantaha. That by the mercy of Sanatana Goswami, we can come to the conclusions of the revealed scriptures. We realize the conclusions of the revealed scriptures. And by the mercy of Rupa Goswami, we can have a taste of devotional service. Rupa Goswami is described as the Rasa Acharya. Rasa Acharya is the Acharya of taste of Bhakti Rasa. So that's why we have to glorify Rupa Goswami. The song is here. So I think next week onwards, we can always have it highlighted and we can all participate in the singing and the translation so that we can beg for the mercy of these exalted Vaishnavas who set the pace. They are trailblazers. They show the way with the touchlight of knowledge. So they have to be honored, and they're actually honored in the three worlds because of the very exalted positions and exalted services they rendered. And as a result, today, we have all these scriptures, unlimited scriptures to study in order to nourish our Bhakti Lata Beach, our devotional creeper. So yesterday we ended on slide 129. That's how we ended. So today we are beginning from 130. And today I will try to be a bit snappy so that we can finish this lesson. And then the other two lessons, I think we should try to finish them in 2 weekends. Every weekend we try to finish each of the lessons, lesson 5 and 6. So that you can be liberated. When the students are in the classroom, when the students they have a lot of reading work to do, a lot of slokas to learn, a lot of essays to write, a lot of closed book tests. They are not liberated. They are confined. They are confined to their academic work. But once they finish with the curriculum, they finish with the syllabus, and they write their exams, they become liberated. So I think this is the last unit of your Bhakti Sastri program. And so we can finish it in the next two weekends. Then you can finish up your exams, your essays, and everything and become liberated. I understand next Sunday, there is the first anniversary of our Zoom online lectures. So there is a gathering at 9 o'clock on Sunday. And so I've requested that. They were saying we should postpone our class, but I said, no, we can have it a bit earlier. So instead of 7:30 to 9:30, we can have it from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock promptly. So if everybody comes early, 7 o'clock prompt, we can still have our full session at 9 o'clock prompt, we end, and then that program can continue. So please take note, the next week, Sunday. The Saturday will be the same time, usual time, Saturday. But Sunday, the program will be shifted 30 minutes earlier. It will start 30 minutes earlier. That means 7 o'clock. And we have to start promptly at 7 o'clock. Whether it's one student, two students, no student, we have to start at 7 o'clock because we have to end promptly at 9 o'clock to allow the next program to take place. So please take note. So devotional principles, slide 30, 130, 131, 132. They're all talking about the devotional principles. 130, 130. Next slide. So these are devotional principles. 1, blasphemy. 2, wearing tilak and tilasi beads. Tilasi beads. 3, nirmalia dati, accepting flower garlands. 4, archana, that is deity worship. 5, paricharya, rendering service to the Lord. 6, sankirtanam, congregational chanting of the glories of the Lord. 7, vigyapti, submission. The next 31 continues from 31. 8, dancing before the deity. 9, bowing down in honor of the deity. 10, standing up to receive the deity. 11, following the deity. 12, going to the temple of Vishnu or to places of pilgrimage. 13, circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. 14, smelling the incense and flowers offered to the Lord. Then 32, slide 32 continues. Seeing and touching the deity. 16, reciting notable prayers. 17, partaking prasadam. 18, drinking charanamrita. 19, observing arati and celebrations of the Lord. So these are devotional principles that one must engage in. Yesterday we discussing pravritti and nirvritti margas. Pravritti means positive actions and nirvritti means negative actions that are to be avoided. So we go to the next slide, which is 133. Now we are going to discuss these principles one by one. So the next slide, 133, talks about the dangers, actually 133 and 134. Those two slides talk about dangers of blasphemy and dealing with blasphemy. So in this slide it says, Nindam Bhagavata Srivams Tat Parasya Janasya Va Tato Napaiti Yasopi Yati Ada Sukritak Shutaha. Anyone who fails to immediately leave the place where he hears criticism of the Supreme Lord or his faithful devotee will certainly fall down, bereft of his pious credits. If you go to the next slide, it says dealing with blasphemy. Next slide. Yeah, dealing with blasphemy. There are 3 ways of dealing with such insults. If someone is heard blaspheming by words, one should be so expert that he can defeat the opposing party by argument. If he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. The third process is followed if he is unable to execute the above mentioned two processes. And this is that one must leave the place and go away. If a devotee does not follow any of the above mentioned three processes, he falls down from his position of devotional service. So, blasphemy is such a dangerous activity. As we were discussing yesterday, blasphemy means Vaishnava apparat. Blasphemy actually means apparat. And apparat means to be without the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So how can we execute devotional service without the mercy of Srimati Radharani? So as soon as we engage in apparat, we engage in blasphemy, we engage in unnecessary criticism, then we are avoiding Srimati Radharani, and that is not at all desirable. So therefore, it is recommended here that if one hears any blaspheming or blasphemous words, one should defeat. Actually, in some scripture, it says one should cut the tongue. One should cut the tongue of the blasphemer. But that is not a very practical step. If you cut somebody's tongue in these modern times, you'll be arrested for assault. So it is said here one should be so expert that he can be defeated. The opposing party should be defeated by argument. And if he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. So it is so dangerous. Blasphemy is so dangerous. Now hearing it is compared to drinking poison. When you just listen to somebody speaking ill about a devotee, it's as good as drinking poison. So therefore, the recommendation here is one should give up his life if he cannot defeat a person by argument. And if one is not able to do that, of course, that is also difficult for somebody to just give up his life. So if one is not able to do that, then one should leave that place immediately and go away. One should block his ears, actually. He said one should block his ears and go away from that place. He should not allow that blasphemous sound to enter into his ears and go down to his heart. If one does not do this, then certainly he is going to fall down from his exalted path of devotional service. It is said that blaspheming a Vaishnava is 100 times more severe than blaspheming an ordinary living entity. So blaspheming a Vaishnava is just very dangerous. Therefore, no intelligent person should tread such a path. Treading such a path means suicide. It's suicidal to unnecessarily criticize devotees, Vaishnavas, exalted Vaishnavas. Is very dangerous. It's very detrimental to our spiritual life. Therefore, an intelligent person does not tread such a path. An intelligent person does not walk such a path. A practitioner should not allow blasphemy of Krishna or his devotees to enter his ears. is like drinking poison. If we listen to the blasphemy of devotees, blasphemy of Krishna, is like drinking poison. So therefore, a practitioner of Krishna consciousness, a sadhaka, should not allow the blasphemous sound of Krishna or his devotees to enter his ears. So wherever such blasphemy is taking place, the devotee should leave there immediately. Otherwise, one will fall down, one will be distracted from the performance of a devotional service. It is also mentioned that if one commits an offense, towards a devotee, one should take shelter of Krishna. It says, Sarva Parada Kred Api Muchanti Hari Samsrayaha. One should take shelter of Lord Hari, and all his offenses will be vanquished. All his sinful reactions will be eradicated if one takes full shelter of Krishna. All offenses committed in the service of the Lord are destroyed by taking shelter of the holy name. So if one commits some offenses in the service of the Lord, then one should take shelter of the holy name. The holy name alone delivers everyone. It delivers the Vaishnavas. It delivers anyone who takes to the holy name. But those who have taken shelter of the holy name must give up the 10 offenses. Every morning we are chanting the 10 offenses. Those who have taken shelter of the holy name, they must follow, they must avoid the 10 offenses we recite every morning pertaining to the holy name. So one can take shelter of Krishna if he has committed some offenses, and one can take shelter of the holy name if one has committed some offenses, seva aparat, in the course of rendering service, because the holy name can deliver anybody and everybody. But those who have taken shelter of the holy name, they must make sure they avoid the 10 offenses that are enumerated. They must avoid those 10 offenses against the holy name. Then one can properly take shelter of the holy name. So that takes us to the next slide, 135. Unless there's a question, if there's no question or comment, then we proceed to the next slide, 135, wearing of tulasi beads and tilak.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please, I wanted to know more about the second point that says one should give up his life.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean so you have to kill yourself or surrender or whatever. I don't know. I don't get it.
It means you give up your life. You don't live anymore. That's what I said. Hearing blasphemous statements, hearing a devotee of Krishna blasphemed is as good as drinking poison. So therefore, when you drink poison, what happens? You die. So if one hears a blasphemy of the Lord or blasphemy of his great devotees, it is said that one should give up his life. He should leave the body. But that is not a very practical step. It is a very difficult step. Nobody will want to give up his body so easily. We all want to live for a long time. We want to live forever, actually. So nobody will easily give up his body that way. So therefore, the the best option is to either defeat the fellow by arguments or leave the place immediately. Don't stay there and just listen to all the blasphemous words about Krishna or about a devotee. We should leave there immediately. Since the other, like it's also mentioned, cutting the tongue of the blasphemous person or giving up your body. Actually say you should cut the tongue of the blasphemous person. If you cannot do that, you should give up your body. You give up your life. But these are very difficult actions to perform. So therefore, you defeat a person by argument or you leave the place immediately. You don't listen to all the blasphemous things the person says. So these are easy to do. They are practical. But to cut somebody's tongue or to give up your life air, these are very difficult things to do. So these other two are there. And so we should go by this recommendation.
Thank you, Maharaj. But Maharaj, there's another instance here. Probably you go on Harinam or maybe book distribution.
Yeah.
You meet a fellow, and from the way the person talks, in Ghana here or Africa, we the Hare Krishna people have been, painted black by some people. And then those who are outside, they have never had the chance of coming close to the devotees to be able to ask questions pertaining to what they have heard for clearing of doubt. So from what they have heard, these people are worshippers. But sometimes at a point in time, you end up talking to that person, and then the person will be like, why are people saying this? Why are people saying that? Then they come to the level of now giving you the chance to explain things to them. So in the process of, or in the course of we doing, let's say, Harinam or preaching works, and you even come across people like this, how do you go about it? Because there have been other instances whereby, in a situation like that, whereby you are explaining something to somebody, another person standing somewhere listening to your conversation, and he becomes rather interested in the conversation. And at the end of the day, that person rather comes to join what you are doing or even benefit from understanding the concept of which you are preaching outside. So in the foot of preaching, how do you go about this? I'm talking about the third place, the third one, I say we should leave the place. Santa, when we wait and then speak.
Yeah, for the purpose of preaching, we sometimes tolerate because the people are ignorant. You see, that's why he said that to preach, one has to come to the Madhyama platform. The Madhyama Adhikari, he identifies the different categories of people. Those who are ignorant, those who are demonic, and those who are favorable. A preacher must understand this principle. You should know those who are ignorant, they need your guidance. Those who are sincere, they really want to hear you. And those who are demonic, those who are opposed, you should know them. So in a situation where an ignorant person is saying something because he just heard it from somebody, you can tolerate to try to explain to him, try to educate him because he's ignorant. But a demon, if a fellow is demonic and he's challenging you and trying to disturb your preaching, you should be able to identify such a demonic character and avoid him. So you should know who is ignorant, who is sincere, who wants to hear, and who is opposed. And so from the analysis, you can know this person, you can't tolerate him. He's just come to disturb the preaching. He's just come to blaspheme. He just come to cause problem. So you avoid such a person. But if somebody is ignorant and because he has had some wrong information from somewhere and is trying to project what he has had, you may still exercise some patience and try to explain, convince him to give up that understanding he had got before. So that is there. For a preacher, you should be able to to differentiate between favorable, those who are favorable, but they're ignorant, and those who are just opposed to Krishna, opposed to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and they want to distract your preaching, they want to disturb you. You should be able to identify them, and then you avoid them like that.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the next item is wearing of tulasi beads and tilak. And then I think the next verse, also let's read this one. The next slide also is in connection with this, but let's read this one. Somebody can read this. Somebody can read this slide. 135. 135, somebody can read.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Slide 135. I read. Wearing of tulasi beads and tilak. Persons who put tulasi beads on the neck, who mark 12 places of their bodies as Vishnu temples with Vishnu's symbolic representations, the 4 items said in the 4 hands of Lord Vishnu, sponge, mace, disc, and lotus, and who have Vishnu tilak on their foreheads are to be understood as the devotees of Lord Vishnu in this world. Their presence makes the world purified, and anywhere they remain, they make that place as good as Vaikunta or in the Padma Purana. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide also, slide 36. The next slide, somebody can also read this.
Should I continue?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can read this.
Okay. I want to continue. The power of tilak and tulasi bead. Persons who are decorated with tilak or gopi kandana and who mark their bodies all over with the holy names of the Lord, and on whose necks and breasts there are tulasi beads, are never approached by the Yamadutas.
Thank you. In these 2 slides, the importance of wearing neck beads and body with tilak are highlighted. The scriptures say that one who worships the Lord but does not mark his body with tilak or wear tulasi neck beads achieves no result. These dress of tilak and neck beads has a lot of potency and should be considered the appropriate dress code of a Vaishnava. Tilak and tulasi beads are the only ornaments of a Vaishnava. Tilak and tulasi beads are the only ornaments of a Vaishnava. By wearing such ornaments, it purifies the mind. By wearing such ornaments, it purifies the mind. This tradition has come through the disciplic succession and is therefore a worshipable process. By properly decorating the body with these sacred items, the living entity can even attain liberation while residing in the material world. Wearing beads of tulasi, marking the body with tilak, and the names of Krishna, using gopi chandana, are favorable for developing the desired mood of bhakti. When we wear neck beads, when we wear tilak, immediately it changes our mood. To practice bhakti, a certain mood is required. And that mood is facilitated by the ornaments that we wear. It is said that the mark of the tilak is of great significance, especially the one on the forehead. The 2 lines is said to be the temple of the Lord. From the nose, it stretches up to the hair on the head with a beautiful space between the 2 lines. This is called the temple of Lord Hari. Lord Brahma resides on the left side, and Sadashiva, who is not different from Mahavishnu, resides on the right-hand side. And Lord Vishnu himself, he stays in the middle. So the left line represents Lord Brahma, the right line represents Sadashiva, and Lord Vishnu is in the middle. And that is why it is said that when you see a Vaishnava with a tilak on his forehead, it is most auspicious. And similarly, he also said that if you see a face that is not marked with tilak, it is most inauspicious. So wearing tilak, wearing neck beads are so important for a practitioner. Wearing tilak, wearing neck beads are so important for a devotee. A person who wears a 3-line tilak is of the lowest of men. So sometimes you see people wear 3 lines tilak across, not like the Vaishnav tilak. They wear 3 lines tilak. He said they are the lowest of men because of breaking the rules for marking tilak on the body, which is an abode of Lord Vishnu. Certainly they will end up in hell. So it is mentioned here. In fact, Yamaraj told his servants, the Yamadutas, when Ajamil was protected by the Vishnu Dutas, the Yamadutas, they had gone to arrest Ajamil because he was such a sinful person. But because Ajamil called his son's name, his little boy was just standing nearby when he was about to leave his body. When he saw the Yamadutas, he was frightened. So he called his son's name. And it happened to be the Lord's supreme name, the Supreme Lord's name, Narayan. And so when the Vishnu Dutas heard their master's name pronounced by this dying man, immediately they were there and they drove away the Yamadutas. So the Yamadutas were very confused. They went back complaining to Yamaraj. They have never experienced this before in their lifetimes of carrying out those operations of arresting sinful souls. They have never gone to a sinful soul and they were stopped. So they went complaining to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj told them that you made a mistake. If you see somebody wearing neck beads, if you see somebody wearing tilak, please don't go near him. You have no right, you have no jurisdiction in that person's life. You have nothing to do with that person. Go the other way. If you see somebody wearing neck beads or wearing tulasi, wearing a tilak, don't look in that direction. Go in a different direction. So So he told his servants never to approach a person wearing tulasi beads or wearing tilak, because such decorations are only meant for the devotees of the Lord. I think last week I mentioned how Madhvacharya was in Udupi, and then one boat, one ship was being disturbed by the wind. There was a strong wind on the sea and a storm, and the ship had lost its way. It's a cargo ship that lost its way, and so they were just looking for some land where they can take shelter. At that time, Madhvacharya was sitting at the beach doing his japa, and when he saw this ship, and he understood that this ship is in trouble, so he took off his chadar and started waving in the air so that they can see that there is land. And so the captain saw the sign. Somebody is throwing a chadar in the air, a cloth in the air. So it was difficult for him even to direct the ship there. Madhvacharya, being a Vayu himself, he began to breathe very heavily. And by that heavy breathing, he actually drew the ship. He was drawing the air, the wind that was, disturbing the ship. He was drawing that air towards him, drawing the wind towards him. He was breathing in that wind. And so the ship came towards him and was brought to safety. So when the captain and the crew, they were brought to land, they were safe. They were so appreciative of what Madhvacharya had done for them. Actually, they knew it was a mystery. On their own, they would have drowned. But they saw that this sadhu was actually responsible for their safety. So they offered to give him anything he wanted. They said they will give him diamonds, they will give him gold, whatever he wanted, he should ask for anything. And Madhvacharya said he did not need any diamonds, he did not need any gold, he did not need anything. All that he wanted was a lump of tilak. There was a big tilak in the boat that was used for balancing the weight of the boat. So Madhvacharya said that's what he wanted. He wanted the tilak, the lump of mud. And the captain could not understand. He said, we want to give you gold, we want to give you diamonds, and you're asking for a lump of earth? And Madhvacharya said, I'm a Vaishnava. And for a Vaishnava, the most important ornament for him is tilak and tulasi beads. So that's all that I want. Keep your diamond, keep your gold, keep your valuable jewels. You can use them when you go to the city. And for me, just give me that lump of tilak. Interesting enough, there was a deity buried inside that tilak. The captain and his crew, they did not know that there was a Krishna, baby Krishna, buried in that lump of tilak. But Madhvacharya, with his spiritual vision, he could understand that the Supreme Lord was within that tilak, that lump of tilak. So he took it, he insisted. And so since he saved the ship, they were grateful to give him whatever he wanted. So they gave him a lump of tilak. And it was so heavy that they were even wondering how they can even take that tilak out and give it to him. But as soon as they agreed, Madhvacharya jumped onto the ship because his value. He jumped onto the ship and lifted that heavy tilak and jumped off the ship and landed on the land and took away that lump of tilak. And then he went and they broke the tilak, and there was this beautiful deity of Krishna in that lump of tilak. So that deity is still there in Udupi. If you go to Udupi, that deity is still there till today. And people go to have darshan. But the deity is facing west instead of east. Because normally the temples are made that the deity can see the sun rising. So, but that deity is facing west. The story is that there was a very great devotee of the Lord, but he had taken birth in a low family. He was like a Sudra. And those days, these Varnas were very strong, especially in South India. The caste system was very strong. So if you are not a Brahmana, you are not allowed into the temple. So this devotee, being born in a Sudra family, he wanted to see the Lord, but they would not allow him. So he went to the back of the altar, because the deity is standing facing east and his back to the west. So this devotee went to the back of the altar and he was praying and chanting and worshiping the Lord at the back of the altar. So it is said that the next day, when the pujaris opened the altar, they found out that the deity had turned himself, facing the direction of where that so-called Sudra was standing. Instead of facing the east, he was now facing the west. So it was clear that the deity was reciprocating with this devotee who was outside there, because that's where he comes to worship. Because they don't allow him in the temple. He goes to the back of the altar and be singing and dancing and glorifying the Lord there. So when they saw that, so everybody understood that this person is not just an ordinary Sudra. He's a very exalted Vaishnava. If Krishna can turn around, the deity can turn around to face his direction, then he must be a very exalted devotee. So they created a window so that he can be seeing the deity from that window. And so till today, the deity, when you enter the temple, you only see the back of Krishna. But you have to go at the back to see Krishna's face through the window where that so-called Sudra devotee used to worship his Lord. So that links us to the story of tilak, because Vanacari requested for a lump of tilak from the ship in place of diamonds, in place of gold and all that. And he specifically said that a Vaishnava's ornaments, supreme ornaments, are tilak and tulsi beads. And the Vaishnava will opt for these things instead of any beautiful jewelry, because these things are recognized by Lord Vishnu. These things are considered very exalted. So a Vaishnava will always take shelter of these items. If there are any comments, they are welcome. If there are no comments, we go to the next slide.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please, I understand in some situations we permit the application of invisible tilak. Let's say you use water, you chant the mantra, then you apply. How potent is that one compared to using the gopi chant? And then can we also put on tilak together? Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes. There are certain situations because we're in the modern world. We're in the modern world. If you wear tilak to some places, they may not even allow you in. So it said that in that circumstance, you should wear the tilak, invisible tilak, with water. You take water, you put the tilak mark, Om Keshavaya Namaha, on the forehead. Though it's not visible, but Lord Vishnu is there. Once you put on the tilak with the water, in the same way that the normal tilak is put, Sadashiva and Lord Brahma will be there, and Lord Hari will be there. Lord Vishnu will be there. So in circumstances where tilak may not be appreciated, or where they may not even allow you to enter because you're wearing tilak, then that is recommended.
Thank you, Maharaj. But I also ask, can we also wear tilak to bed whilst we are going to bed? Maybe in the close of the day when we are going to bed, can you wear tilak?
Yeah, actually, I said that anytime you take a shower, you should wear tilak. Anytime you take a shower, you should wear tilak. And there is no harm wearing tilak to go to bed, because you don't even know when you are going to leave your body. Some people go to sleep and never wake up. So it's good that you have tilak on your body when you go to bed. So in case of any eventuality, you are still connected. So that is okay. But the principle is anytime you take a shower, you should put on tilak.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
So we go to the next. (137). Actually, 137, 138. 137, 138 is talking about decorating oneself with garlands used by the Lord. Slide 137 and 138. So decorating oneself with the garlands used by the Lord. This is the statement made by Uddhava in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Trayo pabukta shrak gandha vasulankara shashitaha uchista bojinoda sastava mayam yajemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. The next slide, go to the next slide also. Next slide, 138. The potency of items used by the Lord. Lord Brahma tells Narada, my dear Narada, anyone who puts on his neck the flower garland, which was formerly used by Krishna, becomes relieved from all disease and reactions to sinful activities. And gradually, he is liberated from the contamination of matter. So these two slides are highlighting the spiritual potency of items utilized by the Lord. It said that the remnants of foodstuffs, clothing, ornaments, flowers, tulsi leaves, and manjaris are very powerful spiritual artifacts. And that they can transform our consciousness. Remnants of foodstuffs, clothing, ornaments, flowers, tulsi leaves, manjaris that have been used by the Lord become very powerful spiritual artifacts. And by accepting them, they can transform our consciousness. In the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Tasyara Vrinda Nayana Nasya Padara Vrinda Kinjalka Mishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antaganta Swa Vivarena Chakrate Sham Shakshobam Aksharat Jusham Api Chita Tanvaho. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered the nostrils of the Chasusanas, the false Brahmachari sages. They experience a change both in body and mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. So the Kumaras, the four Kumaras, just by smelling the Tulsi Manjaris that were offered to Lord Vishnu, just the smell alone was enough to change, transform their consciousness. They were impersonalists before, but as soon as they smelled the tulsi leaves or manjaris offered to the Lord, their consciousness was changed. So similarly, all of us, we are testimonies of the mercy of accepting the remnants of the Lord's items, particularly Prashadam. By the mercy of the Lord, we come in touch with his devotees. And by the mercy of the devotees, we receive the Lord's mercy in the form of Prashadam. And just by taking Prashadam, our lives have become transformed. We may not believe it, but just by taking Krishna Prashad and chanting the holy names, our lives have become transformed. So, a devotee must always accept the remnants of Prashadam, remnants of garlands, remnants of Ganda, that is Chandan, sandalwood paste. One should always be eager to accept these things. And by accepting these things, Uddhava says, your servants will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Because whatever is used by Krishna immediately acquires a spiritual nature. It's called Advayagyan. Advayagyan, anything that is related to Krishna is as good as Krishna. So anything that is used by Krishna immediately acquires the qualities of Krishna. And so when we accept the garlands, the foodstuffs, the ornaments, the clothes, and what have you, one is actually associating with Krishna. And so one becomes liberated from the contaminations of this world. So it's an important principle in the practice of bhakti, to receive the mercy of the Lord, to receive the remnants of the Lord, to be eager to receive the remnants of the Lord. A devotee must be eager, because these remnants of the Lord has the potency to transform our consciousness. It has a potency to purify our existence. It has a potency to actually give us love of Godhead. So therefore, a devotee must be eager to receive the mercy of the Lord. Like in Puri, the Lord Jagannath clothes, they distribute it. They cut it into pieces and they distribute it, and they tie it on people's hands. And people relish receiving the clothes of Lord Jagannath. It is valued. It is considered a very, very wonderful gift to get a piece of cloth worn by Lord Jagannath on your hand is considered a great blessing. So people are eager to get that mercy. And sometimes you can even get the cloth of Lord Jagannath to wear, to buy in the bazaar, in the temple bazaar in Puri. So we can go to the next slide, 139. Somebody like to read this?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dancing in a jubilant spirit. A person who is in a jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of bodily expressions, can burn away all the accumulated sinful reactions he has stocked up for many, many thousands of years. From the body of any person who claps and dances before the deity, showing manifestation of ecstasy, all the birds of sinful activities fly away upwards. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And this is the potency of dancing, the power of dancing. A person who is in a jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of bodily expressions, can burn away all the accumulated sinful reactions he has stopped up for many, many thousands of years. From the body of any person who claps and dances before the deity, showing manifestations of ecstasy, all the birds of sinful activities fly away upward. So, dancing with deity is important. Anyone who dances before Krishna, he becomes free from many, many years of accumulated reaction. Anyone who dances before the deity is actually driving away all the birds of sinful activities. So even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Lord himself, he used to dance before Lord Jagannath in such an ecstatic mood that even Lord Jagannath himself will wonder how the Lord is dancing. Amrita is mentioned, Sajya Krishna Chaitanya Sri Rahatagri Nanayaha. May the Supreme Personality of God and Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who dance in front of the car of Sri Jagannath, be glorified. By seeing his dancing, not only was the whole universe held in wonder, but Lord Jagannath himself became very astonished to see the static dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this dancing is a service. This dancing pleases the Lord. And not only that, it purifies one's existence. Actually, it is said that when we dance, the earth is jubilant because the earth is purified. When we chant the holy names into the air becomes purified, the sky becomes purified. And when we raise our hands in the air, actually we are blessing the demigods. We are blessing the people in the upper planetary systems by raising our hands and dancing in kirtan. So the whole kirtan activity is actually a blessing activity. Mother Earth is so happy when the devotees are dancing on her. Vayu is very happy. The air is very happy when we chant the holy names loudly. It purifies the air. And the denizens of heaven are very happy when we raise our hands and we dance to the music of the holy names of the Lord. So this jubilant spirit of dancing is actually very important for a devotee. So therefore we see that Mahaprabhu came to inaugurate this dancing. Sankirtan means dancing. And he personally demonstrated the importance of dancing. All day you hold Harinam, dance with the thousands of people. At night he would hold a secret kirtan with his very close, intimate associates. And then they will break open the jewelry box of love of Godhead, the safe of love of Godhead. And everyone would just enjoy, would just relish the holy names of Krishna to a very unlimited degree. So this dancing is as a spiritual principle, a devotional principle one should practice. By dancing before the deity is happy. And the deity, when the deity is happy, then he gives his mercy. So therefore, we should all attempt to dance when we come before the deity. We should shake our body when we come before the deity. It is said that people, they only sweat when they eat, but they never sweat in kirtan. A devotee should dance. Actually, kirtan, during kirtan, thinking stops. And that is why it is said that kirtan is even superior to japa. When we do japa, individual chanting is good. But when you do kirtan, it is better. Because in kirtan, we don't think. The mind stops functioning. Once one is absorbed in singing and dancing, he doesn't care about the external world. He doesn't care who watches him. He doesn't care. He's just absorbed in singing and dancing. So therefore, it is said that kirtan, loud kirtan, is superior to any form of japa. Because in that kirtan, one does not think anymore. One does not remember anything. All that he remembers is the holy name and then the dancing. So therefore, Mahaprabhu's method of worship of Krishna in this age by Sankirtan, we have to embrace it because it is very pleasing to Lord Jagannath. It's very pleasing to Radha Govinda. It's very pleasing to the Panchatattva. So we have to do that in order to get their mercy. The next slide, we go to the next slide, bowing before the Lord. Bowing before God, a person who has a great sacrifice, and who has simply offered his respect of grace by bowing before the cannot be held as equal. There is some sound coming from somewhere. The person who has executed many great sacrifices will attain the result of his pious activities. But when such results are finished, he has to take birth again on the earthly planet. However, the person who has once offered respect, bowing down before the deity, will not come back to this world. because he will go directly to the abode of Krishna. So, before the Lord is such an auspicious activity. When we pay obeisances, we offer our dandavats before the deity of Krishna. It's such an auspicious thing. In fact, we do so many important things that we don't even value. We don't even consider the benefit. Just by paying obeisances in front of the deity, it's such an auspicious activity that just by doing this alone, one can go back home, back to Godhead. That a person who performs a great ritualistic sacrifice can only enjoy the results in the heavenly planets. But when the results are finished, he has to come back to the earth planet. But the one who is just simply paying obeisances to the deities, he becomes a candidate for going back home, back to Godhead. In the Harivamsa, it is said, Shira Shakrishno Jagraha Swahasten Avanyaha. That is because Kaliya bowed his head before Krishna. You know, in the beginning when Krishna was fighting with Kaliya was proud. Kaliya was thinking that he has an ocean of poison. And with that, he had a wealth of poison. He is going to bite Krishna and kill him. So he was proud of his poison. But when he saw that his poison could not have any effect on Krishna, then he was thinking, he has so many hoods. He's going to coil around Krishna and strangle him. But that also couldn't work. So all his attempts to fight Krishna failed. And then when Krishna stood on his head, stepped on his 1,000 hoods, and made him to subjugate himself, made him to bow just by bowing. When Kaliya realized that his poison could not save him, his 1,000 hoods could not save him, his strong coils could not save him, he bowed. He bowed in shame to Krishna. And when Krishna saw Kaliya bowing before him, Krishna was ready to release him. He was ready to benedict him. So just because Kaliya bowed before Krishna, Krishna became very favorably disposed towards Kaliya. Of course, the wives also, the Kaliya Nagatpagnis, the wives of Kaliya, they also begged Krishna, they also prayed to Krishna, please, our husband is dying. He's dying. If you don't spare him, he will die. And when he dies, we shall all become widows. Please, don't make us widows. So the wives of Kaliya also prayed to Krishna. And Krishna, listening to the wives of Kaliya, spared the life of Kaliya. But actually, it's also mentioned in the Harivamsa that when Kaliya bowed his head, when he realized his poison could not save him, his strong coils could not save him, his several hoods could not save him, then he bowed his head before the Lord. And just by that bowing, Krishna favored Kaliya. So bowing before the deity is an important principle that we should be very eager to bow our heads when we come before the deity. We proceed to 141, slide 141. Standing up before the deity, a person who sees the Lord's Ratayatra car festival and then stands up to receive the Lord can purge all kinds of sinful reactions from his body. So just see, when the car festival, when Jagannath is coming in his car, or the deities are coming on their chariot, and one just stands up and perform pranams, just fold your hands, that alone is enough to purge one of all kinds of sinful results from his body. So we can go to the next verse also, the next slide. Which is also in the same line, following the deity. Even if born of a lowly family, a person who follows the Ratha Yatra car, when the deities pass in front or from behind, will surely be elevated to the position of achieving equal opulence with Vishnu. So it is said that the Lord is the leader of all living entities. So since the Lord is the leader of all living entities, when the Lord is coming, everyone should stand up. That's what the slide 141 was saying, standing up before the deity. A person who sees the Lord's Ratha Yatra car festival and stands up to receive the Lord, he becomes free from sinful reactions. And anyone who follows the Ratha Yatra cart, when the Lord passes in front or from behind, will surely be elevated to the position of achieving equal opulence with Vishnu. The Krishna is described as Nayakanam Shirodratnam. Nayakanam Shirodratnam. The Lord is the hero of all heroes. The Lord is the leader of all leaders. So therefore, when the Lord is passing, everyone should show some respect. One should stand up to receive the Lord, and when the cart passes, one should follow the cart of the Lord. And by such, one becomes free from volumes and volumes of sinful reactions. We go to slide 143. Visiting holy places. Visiting holy places. Persons who attempt to visit the holy places of pilgrimage, like Vrindavan, Mathura, or Dwaraka, are actually glorified. By such traveling activities, they can pass over the desert of material existence. So, Tirtha Yatra, to visit holy places, is considered a very pious activity. And even in India, till date, people travel a lot, just visiting holy places. If you stay in Vrindavan, you see how many people come from Delhi, how many people come from Bombay, come from different places to Vrindavan and Dwaraka and Mathura and Puri and so many other holy places in Kashi, Benares, Ayodhya. There are many holy places in India. India has thousands and thousands of holy places. That is why India is called Punya Bhumi. Punya Bhumi means a very auspicious place. It's a very auspicious place. There are many holy places, many holy rivers, many holy mountains, many holy spots that one can spend his whole life just visiting all these holy places. So by traveling to all these holy places, one can pass over the desert of this material existence. Of course, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that if one visits these holy places, one should not just go and take a bath and go away. Then there is no meaning. When one goes to a holy place, he must meet the saintly people who live in those holy places and hear the pastimes of the Lord in those holy places. Then the Tirtha Yatra, the visit to the holy places, will have a deeper meaning. If we just go sightseeing, that is not enough. It will not give you much spiritual benefit. But if we go to these holy places and hear the pastimes of the Lord, how the Lord performed his very wonderful pastimes in these holy places, then it will deepen our faith, it will nourish our bhakti, and we can make tremendous advancement. The funny thing in India is that people just go to holy places. They don't go to seek knowledge. They don't speak with the saintly people in those holy places. They don't take advantage of the saintly people in the holy places. They just go and look. But our eyes are defective. Our senses are defective. We use our mundane eyes to see a holy place. The better thing is to hear from the saintly people who live in those holy places. It's good to go on pilgrimage. You should go in the association of senior Vaishnavas who knows about the potency. They have heard the pastimes of the Lord in those holy places, and they can narrate those pastimes to us. When we're in the holy place and we can hear the pastimes of the Lord in those holy places, then it makes the place even much more holier. So therefore, the recommendation is visiting holy places is good, but we should go there to hear the pastimes of the Lord in those holy places. Slide 144. Somebody like to read this?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Seeing the deities in the temple, persons who are impelled by pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness and who therefore go to see the deities of Vishnu in the temple will surely get relief from entering again into the prison house of a mother's womb.
Wonderful. Just see, just to have darshan of the deities, just going to the temple to see the deities in a humble mood, in a loving mood, in a very attentive mood. One will not enter into the prison house of a mother's womb. So we can see the whole process of bhakti is just a process of benediction. It's a process of benediction. Bowing down before the deity, following the deity, seeing the deity. Any of these activities is so potent that it can free one from this material world. So it is mentioned how Ramanuja Acharya, one of his principal disciples, was attracted to a prostitute. There was this beautiful prostitute who was visiting a holy place, and this, I think it's Quresh was attracted to this prostitute. And so wherever the prostitute will go, he will follow. And then the prostitute goes to visit the temple. He will not look at the deities. He will just look at the beautiful face of this prostitute. So it so happened that in one temple, Ramanuja Acharya was in that temple when the prostitute visited. And this Koresh also came just to look at the prostitute. And Ramanuja Acharya noticed how this person was just absorbed in looking at the beauty of the prostitute. So he called him and said, hey, I can see that your attention is so much absorbed in this prostitute. You have come into the temple of the Lord. You are so blessed to be here, but you are not seeing the beauty of the Lord. You are simply seeing the beauty of some temporary form, which will decay after some time, deteriorate after some time. So it is because you have not seen the beauty of the Lord. That is why you are putting all your energy into something very temporary. And then he said, do you want to see the beautiful form of the Lord? And he said, yes. He said, okay, meet me here in the evening at 6 o'clock. I will show you the beauty of the Lord. So this devotee, he came and met Ramanuja Acharya in the temple in the evening. And by Ramanuja Acharya's devotional potency, his mystical potency, he actually revealed the beauty of Lord Raghunath to this devotee. And when the devotee saw the beauty of Lord Raghunath, immediately he gave up his attachment to the prostitute and he became a disciple of Ramanuja Acharya, actually became one of the chief disciples of Ramanuja Acharya. So we have to see the deity in a particular mood. It is just not going to the temple and looking up at the deity. We have to see in a service mood. We have to see in a loving mood. We have to see in a humble mood. We have to see in a prayerful mood. Anytime we come before the deity, we should offer some prayer. We should see ourselves as the servants of the deity. And we have just come to offer our prayers to the deity. We should be in a prayerful mood. Then the darshan will be very potent, very powerful. But if we just go to see, that is not enough. Because actually we cannot even see. Our eyes are so faulty, they are defective. Our senses are so defective, we cannot see properly. So, but we should go. Actually, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta says that when we go to the temple, we have no qualification to see the deity. We actually go to the temple for the deity to see us. We go to the temple for Krishna to see us. And for Krishna to see us, we must be in a prayerful mood. We must be in a devotional mood. Then Krishna will see us. We go to present ourselves to the deity because we have no qualification to actually see the beautiful forms of the Lord. Just as Ramanuja Acharya showed this devotee the real form of the Lord. And as soon as he saw that form, he gave up his attachment to mundane beauty. So seeing the deity means seeing the deity in a devotional attitude. 147, slide 147. Is it 147? No, it's 146, circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. 146, I'm sorry. So, yeah, 146. Benefit of circumambulating the temple of Lord Vishnu. It is stated in the Skanda Purana that during this period, if someone circumambulates the temple of Vishnu at least 4 times, it is understood that he has traveled all over the universe. By such circumambulation, one is understood to have seen all the holy places where the Ganges water is flowing, And by following the regulatory principles of Chaturmasya, one can very quickly be raised to the platform of devotional service. So during Chaturmasya, one should perform this vrat, that every day he should circumambulate the temple or the deity at least 4 times. So like in India, they build the temple in such a way that there is a parikrama route. There's a parikrama, you can walk to the back of the temple, come out on the other side, and walk around again. So that arrangement is there in most temples in India. There's parikrama route. Like in Mayapur, there's parikrama route, you can walk around the deities. In Vrindavan, the parikrama route is outside. You walk outside the temple. In Juhu, they have parikrama route behind the altar. You can walk behind the altar and come out in front of the temple hall, in the deities. So these parikrama routes are actually designed that during the month of Chaturmasya, Kartik, one should circumambulate the altar, circumambulate the deities. And by such circumambulation, one can be raised to the platform of Bhakti. One can be raised to a very exalted position on the path of Bhakti. So just performing this single act, one is raised to such an important position. In devotional service. Slide 147. 147. Rendering service to the Lord. Any person who can arrange for service to the Lord in the same way that a king is giving service by his attendants is surely elevated to the abode of Krishna after death. Actually, in India, the temples are just like royal palaces. They are not ordinary buildings because the worship of Krishna should be performed in just the way that a king is worshipped in his palace. So in Vrindavan, there are many hundreds of temples wherein the deities worship exactly like a king. In the Naradiya Purana, it is stated if a person stays in the Lord's temple, even for a few moments, he can surely achieve the transcendental kingdom of God. So render service to the Lord. That is our
Aribo, you are disturbing the class. I'm unmuting you. You are unmuting again. Deyarupa, mute yourself. I'm muting you. You are unmuting again. You are disturbing the class. Sorry, Maharaj. Please, you can continue.
Hare Krishna. So rendering service to the Lord is of great importance because that is our actual function. The function of the jiva is to render service to Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Bhavatam evanu charam nirantaraha prashanta nishesha mano rata antaha kadaham aitantika nitya kinkaraha praha sai shami sanata jivitam. By serving the Lord constantly, one is free from all material desires and becomes completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a wonderful master. So our position as jivas is to serve the Supreme Lord. Mai bhakti hi bhutanam. Mai bhakti hi bhutanam. Amrita tvaya kalpate. Every living entity has a right to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that service is actually our birthright. And that service is our eternal constitutional activity. Is that service that will give us the greatest joy. So therefore, the desire should be, when can I become a permanent, eternal servant? And always feel joyful in the service of a befitting master like Krishna. That should be our desire, how to become a loyal servant of the Lord. The Lord is a king. Kings are nicely served in their palaces, but Krishna is the King of kings. He is a hero. He is the jewel of all heroes. And therefore, our duty is to serve him very nicely. And by such service, one can escape this material world. The next slide talks about chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's 48, 148. Chanting the holy name of the Lord. My dear king, this word Krishna is so auspicious that anyone who chants the holy name immediately gets rid of the resultant actions of sinful activities from many, many births. That is a fact. There is a following statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita. A person who chants the holy name of Krishna once can counteract the resultant actions of more sinful activities than he is able to perform. A sinful man can perform many, many sinful activities, but he is unable to perform so many that they cannot be wiped out by a single uttering of Krishna. So chanting the holy names of the Lord is actually the religion of this age and is a perfection. Anyone engaged in chanting the holy names of Krishna will definitely arrive at the gate of perfection. It is said, Vande Swarai Bhuteham Tam Chaitanyam Yat Prashadataha Yavana Sumanyante Krishnanam Prajalpakaha. Now let me offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even an unclean Yavana becomes perfectly well-bred gentleman simply by chanting the holy names of Krishna. Such is the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the holy name of Krishna. So by chanting the holy name, even an unclean Yavana can become a gentleman. By chanting the holy name, even a Malacha can become a first-class devotee of the Lord. So in this age of Kali, there is no better process of worshiping the Supreme Lord. There is no better process of approaching Krishna except through his holy name. The holy name of Krishna is not different from Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishnas. Nama Chintamani. The holy name is like Chintamani, it's like touchstone. Anybody who is associated with the holy name very sincerely will feel the effect of the holy name. And we can all testify. Before we came to Krishna consciousness, we were all engaging in sinful activities, drinking, smoking, womanizing, eating meat, doing all the horrible things. And we thought we enjoyed the material wealth. You don't know, we're simply complicating our existence. We're complicating our lives. But as soon as we met the devotees and they started telling us what is a better life, how to lead a better life, how to become saintly, and we followed their instructions, and we took up the chanting, we took up association with devotees, and gradually, we have given up those sinful activities. So the holy name is so powerful that anybody who takes to it will not be the same. He becomes a saintly person. Slide 150. Submission to the Lord. Okay, 150. Becoming ashamed of one's sinful activities. And then what happened to 149? I think we should go back to 149. We jumped 149. Go back to 149. Yeah. Submission to the Lord. It said sober devotees offer their submission to Krishna in three ways. Samprarata namika, very feelingly offering prayers. Dainya bodhika, humbly submitting oneself. Lalasa mai, desiring some perfectional stage. This Lalasaya Mai stage of submission comes in the stage of perfect liberation, which is technically called Swarup Siddhi, when a living entity understands by perfect spiritual advancement and revelation his original relationship with the Lord. So actually, it is said that there are 10 ways, 10 forms of prayers that are submitted to the Lord. These are just 3 out of the 10. The first one is Samprarata Namika, words of direct prayer to the Lord. Second one is Swadanya Bodhika, words informing the Lords of one's own humility. The third is Mana Shiksha, instructions to one's own mind. The fourth is Vila Padmika, statements of extreme lamentation. The fifth is Vaishnava Mahima Prakashika, statements revealing the glories of the Lord's devotee. The sixth is Sri Guru Vaishnava Vigyapti Rupa, supplications made to one's spiritual master or to the devotees of the Lord. The seventh is Sri Dham Vase Lipshamika, statements revealing the desire to live in the holy places of the Lord's pastimes. The eighth is Sadaka Dehar Lalasi Suchita. I think that's what is written as number 3 here. Prayers revealing desires to execute regulated devotional service in the body of a practicing devotee. Yeah, desiring professional stage. That is number 8. Sadaka Dehar Lalasha Suchika. Prayers revealing desires to execute regulated devotional service in the body of a practicing devotee. 9 is Siddha Dehar Lalasha Mai. Prayers revealing desires to execute spontaneous devotional service in a perfect spiritual body. And 10 is Akshepa Bodhika, prayers revealing intense grief and sorrow in which one blames oneself for falling into the material world. So there are 10 types of prayers that a devotee submits to the Lord. 10 types of prayers. And each of these prayers simply defines the mood of the devotee. So offering prayers is one of the principles, 9 principles of Bhakti, 9 angas of Bhakti. And so when you take the prayer as a subject, it is also divided into 10 sections, different aspects of the same prayer. And so one has to study these 10 types of prayers and see which kind of prayer he can use. They're actually like tools. They're tools for bhakti that we can use to invoke the mercy of Krishna. And different types of prayers will bring different results. Different kinds of moods of the devotee will bring different results. So by going through these 10 types of prayer, one can see which of the moods he would use, which of the tools he would use to invoke the mercy of Krishna. We go to slide 150. Our time is due, but I don't know whether we can just try to finish up this lesson. Becoming ashamed of one sinful activity. My dear Lord, there is no sinful living entity who is more of a sinner than myself, nor is there a greater offender than myself. I am so greatly sinful and offensive that when I come to confess my sinful activities before you, I am ashamed. This is a natural position for a devotee. As far as the conditioned soul is concerned, there is no wonder that he has some sinful activities in his past life, and this should be admitted and confessed before the Lord. As soon as this is done, the Lord excuses the sincere devotee. But that does not mean that one should take advantage of the Lord's causeless mercy and expect to be excused over and over again while he commits the same sinful activities. So one should actually appeal to the Lord. One should confess to the Lord. Actually, the Lord already knows. It's not that he doesn't know. He knows. He is situated in our hearts as a super soul, Antaryami. So he knows. Even the most secret thought within us, Krishna knows. But then when a devotee approaches the Lord and confesses his inabilities, his sinful activities to the Lord, and prays for the Lord to excuse him, if he does it very sincerely, Krishna will excuse him, but on condition that the devotee does not go back committing the same sins again. And that is why we see in the case of Lord Jesus, when he would deliver somebody, he would say, go and sin no more. That is a Vaishnava principle. When we pray to Krishna, Krishna can forgive us our sins. He can actually free us from our sins, but we should not commit the same sins again. Then it means we are just being whimsical. So a devotee should be ashamed of committing sinful activities. Actually, Prithu Maharaj No, I think it's Jagai Madai. They made a statement. Matulio nashti papatma na paradi na kachans chana parihari pila jame kim bruve purushotamaha. My dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed and want to speak of giving them up. Jagai and Madai, they were telling Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda when they were convicted, and I mean they were converted from their sinful life to Vaishnav lives. They were saying they were ashamed to mention all the sinful activities they were performing before the Lord. So actually a devotee should feel ashamed for performing certain sinful activities. And by feeling ashamed, one will not venture to performing such sinful activities again. But if you are not feeling ashamed, then again, we would easily commit the same sins again. So this feeling of shamefulness before the Lord, that we have disappointed the Lord, if we have that feeling, then we may not again go back to commit the same sins again. Actually said, the sense of regret, Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport, that the sense of regret is very important in the practice of bhakti. If one does not regret for his sinful activities, then one will commit those sinful activities again and again. But if one regrets for committing sinful activities, then that sense of regret will not allow him, or it will prevent him from embarking on the same path again and again. So the sense of regret is very important in the life of a devotee. When a devotee regrets performing sinful activities, then he does not perform them again. He becomes free from such sinful activities and he does not go back to it again. '51. Desiring to render some service. Desiring to render some service to the Lord. I don't know, should we complete the chapter? Do we complete the, I think we are left with about 10 slides. Should we complete the lesson, or we should adjourn till next week? Because some of you may be having some other assignments, and so I thought I could finish, but we're still at 51, and the lesson finishing with 162 slides. So we still have about 11 slides. So should we end here, or should we finish up the lesson? The decision is yours.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. I think, subject to all of the devotees' statement, I think the lesson should not be rushed so that we can assimilate. But if all of the devotees feel that they can wait for another 30 minutes or thereabout, then maybe we might be able to cover it. But looking at the pace at which we take the slide, it might take more than at least average of the 30 minutes.
Yeah. So if we all want us to continue, I don't mind.
I have a contribution here. Srivas said we can end it here for today.
All right. Okay. So
yes, I also second that.
Yeah, we end here.
Yeah, I think we should stop here so that we don't rush the.
Okay, so we end at 150, slide 150, and then
let's start from 151.
From 151. All right, so any questions, any comments? If there are no questions or comments, we adjourn till next week.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Madhavan Prabhu, go ahead.
Madhavan Prabhu, you have some question?
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. My comment is that on Saturdays we can extend our time, but on Sundays, because of the temple program.
Okay, all right, I agree. If possible on Saturday, we can go till 10 o'clock, at least an extra 30 minutes.
Yes.
Sunday, because of the Sunday program, we should end at 9:30.
Yeah, I also agree with this. It's good.
Okay, so I think that's how we end. The Saturdays we can add another 30 minutes. Sundays we end exactly at the time, stipulated time, so that Sunday programs are there line up. So we can take care of that. So thank you very much, all of you again next Saturday. And don't forget next Sunday, the program starts at 7 o'clock Ghana time, 8 o'clock Nigerian time. At 9 o'clock time, 10 o'clock Nigerian time. So please, on time, because 10 o'clock prompt or 8 o'clock prompt, we're starting the lecture because we have limited time. And then we have to end exactly 9 o'clock for the other program. So take note. I'll remind you again on Saturday. So have a wonderful week, a blissful Krishna conscious week. And we hope to see you again next Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think there's a message in the chat box.
Yeah, I'm responding to it. Everyone will add the slide as soon as we finish the session to motivate everyone to come to the class. If we share it from the beginning, some people might just decide not to come and think, okay, I have the material. So that is the reason we are holding on to it. Everyone will have it at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
And the next week also, I will give the essay. The next week, I will give you the essay to write.
Yeah, okay, we are just finishing now. We are finished.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are finished. See, you have to tell us something.
On behalf of all of the devotees, I want to express our appreciation to His Grace Srivas Vanacari for his wonderful presentation. And we hope that we will be able to be a good student and retain all of what has been taught so far. I request all of the devotees to please kindly unmute. Let us appreciate His grace too by loudly chanting Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare
Keep Prema Prabhu. Anything for the boy.
We're gonna the conduct well, that's all. Conduct yourself. Hare Krishna. Conduct yourself very well.